Look into the papers now. Let's see what the headlines are across Nigerian newspapers. And to make sense of all of these, the headlines this morning, I have my two regulars in the house. The CEO of CKN News, Kehinde Nwandu, is here with me in the studio. Take it now. Take it. The cooler, you've not brought the cooler yet. When the cooler comes, then you'll be complete.
I will do the next
because
yes.
I think I'm a good Nigerian. All right, I have Chartered Accountant, Public Affairs Analyst, Sesan Okunade here with me as well. Sesan, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
And you know my own is thank God.
Thank God it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. And I like all your attires. It's really amazing.
To promote our culture.
No, it's good. It's good. Really wonderful. I will put my regalia too. Very All right, let's begin with the Nation newspaper. The Nation newspaper says government molds compulsory COVID-19 vaccination and plan to take off with civil servants. PFN cautions. Okay, this issue is still on the front burner, and certainly we'll be looking at this as we open discussions shortly. The Punch newspaper is next and is talking about rising spending by government. Federal government's 3-year deficit hits 15.4 trillion naira amid revenue crisis. Revenue stood at 12.79 trillion naira. Aggregate expenditure 28.14 trillion naira. Reduce high cost of governance, boost taxes. Experts are advising government here. Okay, revenue was 12 trillion. Expenditure 28 trillion. Okay, you can work the maths. From the Punch, let's go to the Nigerian Tribune. Over 13,777 NDDC projects compromised. A forensic report released recently came up with this. Over 13,777 NDDC projects are compromised. As federal government receives forensic report, vows to prosecute people behind abuse of 6 trillion naira commissions funds. Oh, okay. Money is flying all over the place. Okay, from there, let's go to The Guardian. Losses to market fires hit 41.54 billion naira in 2 years. Losses to market fires hit 41.54 billion naira in 2 years. Fire service received 4,541 calls from 2020 to 2021. Okay, that's The Guardian. Daily Sun. It says Masari passes vote of no confidence in the IGP. Says police boss lacks capacity to secure Katsina. The state police now necessity. Iwanyango is saying this. Okay, Masari is the governor of Katsina State. From there, let's go to the Vanguard newspaper. Paris Club refund. Governors, Reps caucus tackle federal government over $418 million payment to consultants. Governors and Reps caucus tackle federal government over $418 million payment to consultants. Consultants. Underline that. Consultants. Governors kick as Finance Minister okays payment for consultants, and Reps Minority Caucus backs governors, demands probe into $418 million judgment debt, asks Buhari to halt the payment. All right, all that's on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. Leadership is next. It says doctors, health workers embark on strike 10 times in 6 years. Doctors, health workers embarked on strike 10 times in 6 years. Citing poor working conditions, remuneration, among other issues. There's been to talk about the issue of the Memorandum of Understanding to Memorandum of Action and so on. Let's go to Daily Independent. APC ignores court order to proceed with local government congresses. That's Daily Independent. APC ignores court order to proceed with local government congresses. All right, that's a Daily Independent. Blueprint is next, and it says 5,890 terrorists surrendered in weeks. Borno received 565. Defense headquarters is revealing this. 5,890 terrorists surrendered in weeks. Borno alone received 565. Okay, we'll talk about this too as we get along on the show. National economy says 13,000 projects compromised despite 6 trillion naira allocation to NDDC report. Okay, that's national economy. 13,000 projects compromised. All right, Nigerian News Direct says forensic audit report. Federal government to prosecute NDDC officials over 6 trillion naira allocation scandal. Okay. Federal government to prosecute NDDC officials over 6 trillion naira allocation scandal. All right, I hope there'll be time for us to also talk about this on the show. Daily Times, NDDC forensic audit report. Federal government to prosecute looters of 6 trillion naira invested in agency. Okay, that's Daily Times. And Daily Trust, dilemma in Borno as military releases 565 Boko Haram members. Dilemma in Borno has military releases 565 Boko Haram members. They were released after thorough profiling. Defense headquarters is saying this. Why a few surrendered members were released, trying to give reasons for that. And profiling is federal government's responsibility. Security experts are saying this. All right, all that on the front page of the Daily Trust. Excuse me. Then the last one we're looking at now, First News. More dirty revelations, still disgraced Super Cup. More dirty revelations, still disgraced Super Cup. That's a First News headline there. All right. Let's get into these discussions now. I like to start from the Niger Delta, where we have the NDDC. And if you see the story on the front page of the Daily Times, NDDC forensic audit report, federal government to prosecute looters of 6 trillion naira invested in agency. News Direct says forensic audit report, federal government to prosecute, So the point there is, CKN, I'm going to start with you on this because you are from the Niger Delta too.
Yes.
Yeah, technically.
Technically.
Yeah, because your state produce oil.
Yes, we do.
Now, the point there is, it has been said from all of the reports, in fact, before the Niger Delta militancy, the way we have known them, there has been agitation that we don't get what is due us. We don't get what is rightfully ours. We don't get this, from appointments to contracts to all of that. And government decided, okay, let's create NDDC and let NDDC also be an avenue where sons and daughters of the place get most of the appointments and part of the contracts and all of that. But here we are talking about the issue of 6 trillion naira, being, going here and there, that is not done rightly. Who do we blame in this case, in this kind of situation?
Yes, Mike rightly said, my state of Imo is part of the oil producing states, and therefore is part of the NDIC. And NDDC, sorry.
Yes.
The issue is that this forensic report has been long awaited. Remember that some time ago the president said, I'm waiting for this report, I'm waiting for this report.
Yes.
Prior to that also, within that period, some people were invited to the National Assembly to give accounts of their state worship, and some of them were fainting in the if you remember.
Off your mic.
Let me reduce it.
Off your mic.
Let me reduce it. Off your mic. If you remember that, yes, it was part of that
just off your mic.
Just off your mic.
Just off your mic.
So, but good enough, this pro panel has submitted this report, and the minister was able to deliver this report in several Ghana must go bags yesterday. And this is part of what I've been saying. When some people are advocating that, the 3% derivation fund given to the host communities in the PIA that was passed, that it was not enough. I'm one of those that always say that irrespective of whether it's 1%, 2%, 3 or 5 or even 10, the problem is that we'll be having is that all the ones that have been allocated to these regions within this period, what did we do with them? So it's not just giving, we have realized that some people are just funding this. 13,000 projects.
Compromised.
13,000.
13,000.
If you now read that, you also see that they now talk about certain bank accounts that were not traceable. So what it means is that people are just sitting on this money and just collecting this money, disbursing it among themselves. If you remember vividly, during the COVID period, so within that agency, they distributed money among themselves.
Yes, they did.
I'm sure you remember.
No, they worked so hard, so they needed to.
I just hope that this report will not go the way of others before it. We have seen so many reports in the past that after they submit their report, nothing comes out of it. The National Assembly, the House of Representatives, and the Senate goes into probing agencies of government and the rest of them. Submit the report, nothing happens to it. So the only way we can be able to, if the president, your former guest, was talking about 3 cardinal points under which this administration hint is promising when he was coming to power. One of it was corruption, fight against corruption. This is where we're going to know whether this government is really want to fight corruption or not.
Okay.
All those that have compromised on this must be brought to book and punished totally and made to refund all this money.
Okay. Let's hope that happens. Let's look forward to that happening. The report has just been presented, so we look forward to how. Of course, you are one of those who follow those things too. So let's see. Now, Sesan, let's see it from your constituency, from your magnifying glass as an accountant. In fact, a chartered one for that matter. We're looking at 6 trillion naira that should have touched the life of women, children, men, youth, the aged, community, environment, economy of the Niger Deltans. Yet, we still see the outcry of people talking about the issue of we've been deprived, we have not been given this, we've not been given that. What can 6 trillion, what could he have done for people in the Niger Delta?
I can't fully express to you what this amount, the impact. Let's even leave the side of the value of the 6 trillion naira. The project itself, 13,777. Imagine if there are healthcare centers, if there are schools, if there are roads. These are projects that water,
education, and stuff.
We've seen this area asking that the people that are getting the resources, they have actually made their environment toxic. I'm sure this will be part of the project. And 13,000. We are not talking of 13, and we are not talking of 7. We are talking of 13,000 projects compromised. Is to tell you that if any one of you is telling us that Nigeria is not blessed, we are deceiving ourselves. The only problem we have is mismanagement, not transparent, unaccountability. And for me, I'm not surprised. And I don't, several people would have said we are prophet of doom. This will come the natural way that we've seen other happen. You see, why this thing will continue is that people have done it in time past. Nothing happened to them. In fact, some of them became celebrity. If after making such money, you hear if they are not in the State House of Assembly, they would have moved to the House of Rep because they have enough resources that they have earmarked for themselves to contest for the election. And a normal citizen who can deliver promises to the people in his constituency will not be given the chance because he doesn't have the money they have. This is where some of those things happen. For me, it's my personal opinion, it will come the normal way we've been saying. We've heard several of it. You read in one of your elders of the approval of $418 billion to consultants. It's quite alarming when you hear the value of money that have been traded here in this country. If some of the countries in the developed world have some of these resources we are talking of that we hear on daily basis, most of them always, each time we travel, they say, how do you cope in that your country? You wake up and you hear an individual has cut away with trillions of naira, billions of dollars, and you guys are still surviving. I cry for the country every day. At times I blame myself. Why am I in this field of accounting? Because we see figures trolling out. These are things, if we can hold people responsible, and like you know, in those Asia countries, if you get hold of these people, it's not a matter of saying face the law. It's just execution. By the time you know that if I steal or divert or mismanage the fund that is attributed to the development of the masses, what you are doing is that you are killing the people. We will kill you. By the time you kill 1, 2, 3, 4, in fact, everybody will not want to go into that post. They say, I doubt if I trust myself.
Yeah, but
and that's why we support the Asian way of treating some of these things.
As much as the United Nations and civilized world is talking about the issue of the killing, the execution of people as a way of
it's a detriment.
You know, as a deterrent to some of the crimes may have been outdated or outlawed one way or the other, or they advocate that.
Do you know that this we are talking, they are killing individuals?
Okay.
You know the number of people that should have enjoyed good health facilities that are dead.
There are a lot of them.
And some people is carrying the money again to come and they become celebrity.
Okay, we'll come back to this. We'll come back to this, and I'm going to take CKN on some of these issues as well. But let's go on a break. You're watching TVC Breakfast. We're looking at the headlines across Nigerian newspapers. Let's go on a break for some messages. We'll be right back. Right, you're watching TVC Breakfast. We are looking at the headlines across Nigerian newspapers. And I have with me in the studio Sesan Okunade as well as Kehinde Nwandu. We've been looking at this. One of the headlines that talked about the issue of dilemma in Borno no, not this one. We're talking about the forensic audit report that came out on the Niger Delta and said about 13,000 projects are compromised, and is also talking about the issue of the probe. The federal government ready to, prosecute anyone involved in the 6 trillion naira allocation scandal in the commission from the forensic report. Now, CKN, let me come to you on this. We've seen various arguments at different times when it comes to this oil you're taking, because NDDC, all of the issues that led to NDDC is because of the oil, isn't it? Yes. It's because it's derivation, so many things.
Please.
From the time of derivation, 13% derivation that is paid to Niger Delta states. We saw so many years of arguments in fact, the last 20 or 30 years, when it was the issue of, okay, let us increase it, and all of that, it was moved to 13%. That is on one hand. A ministry was created for Niger Delta on one hand. NDDC also created on one hand. Now, when we are looking at this monies this way, as much as the law has said it is statutorily your right as Niger Deltans, but when we see misappropriations of this kind from reports we are seeing, is that reason why it becomes difficult to put an argument to government to seek for more of these funds when it is time to seek it?
That's Mike, because to whom much is given, much is expected.
Okay.
If the government is pumping so much money into these areas and it had nothing to show for it, then it becomes an issue. And what makes it even worse is that majority of the people supervising or in charge of these agencies are people from the Niger Delta. You've talked of derivation, you've talked about the NDDC. Don't also forget that the states within the Niger Delta collect the highest revenue allocation from the federal government because of the oil that's coming. Most of those states, if you put together what most of this, if one of the states, if you look at what one of the states gets from federal allocation, about 3, 4, 5 states don't get it. And you ask yourself, what do they do with that money? So that is where we need to start questioning. And to me, I think the whole thing now boils down to the people. Are the people of Niger Delta asking the right questions? When they were talking about being derived of their rights, they went into militancy. Some of them constitute themselves as militants. They were going around blowing up pipelines and siphoning oil and destroying all these things. Until this ministry was created, until this agency was created, and some of them were also given contracts to look after,
to secure the pipelines.
Now they are making money.
Heavy contract, not just contract.
It was billions of naira. Now they've gotten all those so-called militants are no longer asking questions. Because why? They've been compromised. So they will be held accountable. Everybody, not only if you see, Mike, if I see my colleague stealing in office where I am and I know that it's affecting me, it is my duty to be able to report to the authorities. Have you seen any of those Niger Delta communities carrying placards going to most of these people. All they do is they go to the oil companies. They go to other companies to complain, oh, you are not doing this for us, you are not doing that. Yes, it is the as part of corporate social responsibilities to be able to, but the bulk of this money has been sent to the government, and the government has disbursed it to these agencies to be able to take nothing. Part of this money that they are talking of, he could have developed maybe they would have built a health center in my village,
primary health care center.
In my village, yes. They would have gotten one. Maybe the Mbakwe road that passes through my village, maybe they would have repaired it. Maybe the road that passes through from Umahia through Obo to Owerri, that is more like a death trap, maybe that money would have gone there. Uguta and other parts of Imo State that need serious uplifting, nothing is being done. What they do is that, and what they do is that they quickly go to one of the universities. They say, we have built one 300-bedroom hostel. They call the whole press. They want to come and see, and they disappear. Let this be the beginning of the things for a change.
The desired change
that we desire in the Niger Delta.
Okay. Now, CKN, the point there is, from what he said too, we don't often see youths in the Niger Delta coming out to say, see. Let charity begin at home. All these things, we have representatives in the House of Rep, there are senators, there are ministers, and all of that. How do you, or even governors in the Niger Delta, we don't see them holding them accountable to say, no, come and sit down, talk to us regarding this, especially when you hear of amounts of monies like this, 6 trillion in the Niger Delta alone, NDDC alone. That's not the ministry, that is not the state government and all of that. We don't see youths engaging in that form. Really.
Mike,
or maybe we don't get to see them.
Mike, why will you do that when your senior brother is the chairman of one agency, the cousin of your friend is the SA to the governor, and you don't give that thing.
Let's not remove meat from their mouth.
So when you now go and complain about your brother, who will suffer? Before now, that you see everybody raise their voice and feel that they are being oppressed. As soon as you are able to take care of it, and that's why some of us feel that the level at which corruption has entrenched, it seems to now look like a DNA that flows through us. Because when you pick this particular thing, remember what you were saying off the mic. If they start this investigation, you will see the can of worm, and that's why they will start.
Maybe we have to off more mics.
No. So at that point, you don't discover that whatever prosecution they want to get involved, they will just get to the middle and get stalled. What do you have to say about a state governor? I won't want to mention name. Built a world-class hospital, and as at the time that he had an accident, he could not go to that hospital. What do you call that? Who is holding them accountable? I say, until when we hold some of these our leaders to the level that, okay, you are a governor, like the governor of my state, you are not feeling fine. Can you go to loot? You are the governor of a particular state. Your children, they must go to the local schools. Until we get that and we take that decision, we are not going anywhere. Mike, for me, is my personal view. You will hear this noise, I will call it noise, in the next few weeks. After a while, it will fizzle out. And we'll go back to the drawing board. In fact, what we would have achieved with that is to create another set of people that will say, okay, this set of people have chose their own and they've gone. Can we look for a way to get our own? That is the problem where we found ourselves in this nation. And it's high time this must stop. If this government is sincere, we should go beyond the NDDC. There are other areas that must be looked into, mostly to the civil servant.
All right. Well, the government has said they are going to prosecute anyone who is involved in the scandal. So let's wait and see what comes out.
We are waiting.
We couldn't look at the other issues, especially the one from the repentant Boko Haram and all of that. But maybe as time goes on, next time we'll have to look at it. Sesan Okunade, thank you so much for coming on.
Mike, it's my pleasure to be here.
And Kehinde Nwandu, thank you very much for coming. Take it now. Take it now. Take it now. But we're waiting for the OG.
No, OG will land. It will come. It will come.
Nice to have you all.